Put your hand up if you've ever experienced doubt, stress, or fear in your life. If you've experienced one of those, put your hand up. Good, okay. Keep your hand up if you're experiencing all three of them right now. Okay, just me. Okay, great. So I want you to turn to the person on your left and right, shake their hand and say, draw a line in the sand and leave footprints beyond it. Draw a line in the sand and leave footprints beyond it. Do that now. Do that now. Shake their hands. Okay, cool. Okay, now the next thing I want you to do, and I'm going to put the microphone down for this, is all I want you to do is follow me. Okay, so I'm going to put my hands up like this. I want all of you to put your hands out like this, in front of you like this. Okay, and all I want you to do is follow me. Okay, so if I do something with my right hand, you do it with your right hand. If I do it with my left hand, you do it with your left hand. Oh, see, hey, perfect. Some people are moving already. Excellent. Does everyone know the right lefts? Everyone know the right lefts? Oh, we've got some strong no's as well. Okay, this is my right hand. Lift up your right hand. This is my left hand. Lift up your left hand. Perfect. So after 3, just follow me. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Good. You're doing fine. You're doing fine. Stay confident. Stay confident. You're good. Okay, turn your hands over like that, clasp your fingers together like that, and when you do this, it's really important that you make sure that your right thumb is under your left thumb, that your right thumb is under your left thumb. So let me just check a few people, right thumb under your left thumb, right thumb under your left thumb, perfect. Now, do this with your fingers, and finally do this with your thumbs. Now, if you've really been paying attention, and there is a reason why we're doing this, if you've really been paying attention, you should be able to do this. Anyone got it? Anyone got it? Okay, I'm going to need you to pay way more attention because that was rubbish, first thing. The second thing is this. Let's call this position the objective. And today's objective is for me to show you a little bit more in terms of how you can believe in yourself or why you do or don't believe in yourself as a leader and how to build concrete confidence that spreads to your team. Now, if that's the objective, you all know that confidence is a huge part of leadership, don't you? And sometimes our confidence can be here, there, everywhere, very difficult to control, and therefore very difficult to meet the particular objective we're talking about. So I want to give you some simple strategies to help you control that confidence so you can be a strong leader. Because when we think of leaders, people like Rosa Parks, who, sat where she just wanted to sit on the bus instead of, how blacks and whites were segregated at the time. Someone like Mandela, who was incarcerated for 27 years, but believed that in the possibility of the abolition of apartheid. Completely different. Did I get woo? I thought someone cheered then for some reason. And then the final example, someone like Gareth Southgate, completely different. Would not put him in the same league, but he was a bit of a laughing stock, wasn't he, before he was England manager? Missed that penalty and had that god-awful Pizza Hut advert, but actually none of you were born then, so you wouldn't remember. But people had confidence in their convictions. He knew how he wanted their team to play. He wanted to promote youth, play a particular formation, and people laughed at him, but now he's helped us all fall in love with the England football team again. But the problem is with this generation now, there's a bit of a leadership crisis. The World Economic Forum did a study recently of 1,800 organisations, and 86% of them, these are sports organisations, corporates, whatever, 86% said there's a leadership crisis. And there's a big part of that is because there's poor or non-existent leadership training. And as I said, I want to give you some really simple tips to build your confidence as a leader. The first thing I want to do, though, is I want you to make a sound. Not any sound, I've got a sound in mind. I want you to make the sound of when someone in your life has said, just believe in yourself. Just believe in yourself a bit more. So after 3, I'm going to get you to make that sound. Ready? And they say, just believe in yourself. 1, 2, 3. Exactly. Exactly. Because what the hell does it mean? It's a phrase that seems to hold a lot of weight and not much substance, a bit like Donald Trump. And it's one of those things that people just say and keep saying when you're younger, and it's supposed to mean something, but it simply doesn't. It doesn't mean anything at all. So as I said, I want to give you some simple stuff to help you with that. Now, my name is David Holman. I'm the creator of the SelfBelief Chief brand. I'm a certified life coach, author, speaker. I've got my own business in this. And I want to tell you a little bit more about myself because I'm obsessed with self-belief. And let me tell you why. I was born with the help of something called IVF treatment. Now, for those of you who don't know what IVF treatment is, it's when they take your dad's sperm, they take your mum's eggs, they put them in a dish, put the dishes in the freezer, and they try and implant them and try various combinations. Because if your parents or a couple can't have children for medical reasons, they have to try something like this. Now, when they do this, they put 3 dishes in that freezer. Now, dish 1 is the best sperm and the best egg. If you come from dish 1, you are a super child, essentially, okay? There are rumours that some dish 1 children, don't know, some rumours that they can fly. I don't know if this is true, but some people say this. So my parents, they tried dish 1, and dish 1 didn't work. There were 3 dishes. Some of you may see where this is going. They tried dish 2. Dish 2 didn't work. You know, if you come from dish 2, you're pretty average, but it didn't work. And finally, they tried dish 3, and here I am. What a confidence booster that story is when you hear it for the first time a year ago. So anyway, we move on. We move on, 7 years old, and I diagnosed myself with something called thinking lies. Put your hand up if you've heard of thinking lies. No, that's because I made this shit up. And let me tell you how ridiculous thinking lies was. It was a way to explain the lack of trust or belief in my own thoughts and recollections. So to give you a quick example, I was stood at the top of my parents' stairs, and I knew I had to go and tell them something that would change the way they saw their little boy. So I started walking down the stairs, and I could smell the varnish on the banisters. So I knew they were up because they just cleaned the house. I walk into the kitchen, and my parents are having breakfast. I go, Mum and Dad, actually, you can be Mum and Dad. Is that right? Mum, Dad? Is that cool? Yeah? Who's the dad? Which one's the dad? You'd be the dad? Cool. You both got speaking parts, just let you know. Cool. Okay, so I go, oh dear. Mum, Dad, I've got something to tell you. My dad says, what is it, son? What is it, son? Dad's voice a little bit deeper. Okay. What is it, son? Perfect, yeah, cool. And I go, I really don't know how I'm going to be able to tell you. And my mum goes, you can tell us anything.
Oh, you can tell us anything.
Mum's voice a bit higher.
You can tell us anything.
Perfect. Not, well, yeah, my mum was more convincing, but anyway. So, you're welcome. Yeah, I said, Mum, Dad, okay. I think I've put some nails in your bed. My parents look at each other, run up the stairs, whip off the duvet, and see there are no nails in the bed. Now, I'm not crazy, I'm not a psychopath completely. I would know if I put nails in my parents' bed, like I did last week. But that aside, it was just, I would make up this negative stuff in my head, and my health psychology lecturer, when I was older, suggested it might be in the form of something called memory distrust syndrome. Whatever it was essentially severe doubt, something that we all experience. Final part of the story, and then we'll move on. 8 years old, sitting in my primary school classroom, and I was absolutely football mad growing up. I was looking out the window, getting ready to play football, and it's a beautiful summer's day. And the clock goes 5, 4, 3, 2, and Miss Townsend goes, David, can you hold on a second? I'm like, son of a bitch. Anyway, all the kids run out the room. I go, Miss Townsend, what do you want? Miss Townsend goes, David, you know we've got that end of year assembly at the church, right? I go, yeah. She goes, well, we got this speech, and it's going to give some motivation, a bit of direction, a bit of, help the students for the next year, and I really want you to take the lead on this. And I go, how many people are going to be there? She said, over 100 people. I was like, oh, hell no. No. Of course, she convinced me to do it, because I wasn't going to say no at 8 years old, but she turns away, and she goes, great, and she goes, oh, by the way, we're going to practice every single day for 3 weeks, so that's 5 school days each week, so that's 15 school days in total, so that's 15 school days, we're going to practice morning break and afternoon, so that's 3 times 15, so we're going to practice 45 times in the lead-up, great, see you then. I was like, what? I hadn't realised that I'd essentially sold my soul. I'd given up my football, given up my freedom, and at 8 years old, that was everything, right? My life sucked. So, but that, as you can see, 2 things you've learned so far: born with a severe lack of self-confidence, and number 2, I'm a bit weird. Yeah, a bit weird, a bit different. But so I grew up playing football. You know, I played football at quite a good level growing up at Watford and Stevenage. I went to Loughborough University, but between injuries and a severe lack of self-belief, it was never going to happen for me. It just wasn't, and that's why I became so obsessed with it. I'm part Christian, part Jewish. People didn't always appreciate that growing up either. So I felt that complete lack of self-belief, and I became obsessed with it because I wanted it, and I didn't know how to get it. So I want to share something that's a really simple model, really simple technique to help you build more self-belief. But first, what I need you to do is I need you to all stand up. So all stand up for me right now. Stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up. Because we need to get a lot more energy in this room, because at the moment it is dull. So what I want you to do is I want you to put your finger in your right ear. I want you to put your finger in your right ear. Don't worry, you're not going to have to use it for anything else. Put your finger in your right ear, and I want you to turn to the person either side of you, and as you said before, I want you to say, draw a line in the sand and leave footprints beyond it. Draw a line in the sand and leave footprints beyond it. Do that now, please. Do that now. Excellent. Okay, cool, cool. Thank you. Sit down, sit down, sit down. The reason why you get to put your finger in one ear is so that it goes in one ear and doesn't go out the other one. Because I need you to remember that message, okay? That's going to be an important message, and by the end of this talk, that is going to mean something to you. At the moment, you might be thinking, that sounds like a load of whatever, but it will mean something to you. So let me just teach you a very simple technique, and then I'm going to really engage you all, okay? So if you want self-belief in any area of your life, I created a model based on psychology, game theory, neuro-linguistic programming, every theory I could think of, found all the terms and phrases around self-belief and created a very, very simple model which I want to teach you. This is going to help you understand why you do or don't have confidence in any area of your life. We're talking about leadership today, but this works for your relationships, this works for your career, anything that you can think of. So, 6 sources of self-belief. I'll read them out because you probably can't see them. So, the first source, if you have confidence in any area of your life, it's because you have all of these 6 at a high level. If you're lacking self-belief in any area of your life, it's because you're missing or lacking in a number of these areas. It's as simple as that. So the first area is clarity. The clearer you are of why you want something, I can see people writing this down, so definitely would write this down. So yeah, definitely write this down. Clarity. The clearer you are of why you want something, how you're going to get it, and what you want, the clearer you are, the closer it comes to you. Okay. The second one is focus. Whatever you focus on, you feel. So you focus on what's going well, guess how you're going to feel. If you focus on what's not going well and what's going bad, guess how you're going to feel. The third one is pain. The ability to turn pain into power. So we love an underdog story, and if we know in the future how to deal with setbacks and disappointments, it gives us more confidence in the present. The fourth one is energy, and this is the thing we definitely need to do in this room, is how we hold ourselves, our posture, how we get ourselves in a good state that sends signals to the brain to make us more confident. The fifth one is momentum, and I define this as how we add up the moments in our life. Okay, so we have a 2 million-year-old brain that's designed to help us survive, not to make us happy. So once upon a time we had a threat of bears or fire or whatever, constant threats to our life, and our body had to be designed in a way to help us survive. Now, I'm hoping there aren't any bears up north now, or any of those particular dangers, so what do we worry about now? How many followers do we have on Instagram? What do people think of me? Am I a good leader? All of those things that aren't threats to our life, but our brain has to focus on something. So if we overwhelmed ourselves, and this is a thing I hear most often with students, they feel overwhelmed. If we consciously overwhelmed ourselves with positive things going on in our life, you wouldn't have time to think of the things that are going wrong. So that's momentum. And the sixth, final one is growth. You see it with, superstar athletes, celebrities, lottery winners who seemingly have everything and can be miserable. Why? It's because you've always got to have another level to go to. You've always got to have another level to go to. And there's always another level to go to, but you have to recognize that achieving this one thing isn't going to make you happy for the rest of your life. So those are the 6 sources. Now, in the time we've got, I want to talk a bit about pain and energy, because the other 4 you understand intellectually, those 2 you have to feel. So I really want to engage you on those 2, and I'll get straight into it because we're running out of time. I want to ask another question. Who here has ever feared failure? Put your hand up if you've ever feared failure. Ever feared failure? Can I ask you to stand up very quickly, if that's all right? Give them a round of applause. What's your name? Where are you from?
Tom. I'm from Hull.
Tom from Hull. Very nice. Nice shoes, by the way. Very shiny shoes. Where'd you get them from?
I can't remember.
Okay, no problem. Okay, fine. You've got to remember where your stuff comes from. I don't want to put you in the spot. I've already done that. There's lots of people who are probably thinking exactly the same thing that you're thinking in terms of things that they've feared in their past or particular failures. Can you give an example of a time where you can think of a time where you feared failure?
When I was running for treasurer of the club, I had to run up against 3 other people who I thought were just as capable as I was. I was worried about preparing and giving the speech that I had to give to win.
Okay, very interesting. And what were the emotions? What were the emotions beforehand?
Excitement, but yeah, fear. probably.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Sit down. Thank you. I really appreciate you standing up. And we all can recognise that sort of thing. I speak to lots of different types of organisations, and you hear the same things because we all think in the same ways. Now, there's a different way to deal with different things. If you had a moment in, a previous failure, so example, if in that example, you look at it today and you worry about it, there's a thing you can do called scratching, which is you look at the moment, and when you look back at a moment in your life, it's a picture, and it's the picture that holds all the emotion. So change the picture, you change the emotion. So you make the characters in whatever the picture is, cartoons, you give them squeaky voices, you make it ridiculous, and you play it backwards and forwards over and over again. And it's like scratching a record. You keep scratching the picture, and it changes the memory, and it changes the emotions behind it. So if you've got something in your mind now that you feel like it's in your past that holds you back, do that. I want to give you something different though. What do we do if we're worried about things in the future? If we're worried about things in the future, we create strategies that are going to help us when those things come. And I want to give you a quick story in terms of how one of those came about for me. When I was 15 years old, I was playing football on a gravel tennis court. And I was in a group called the Hexagon of Death, which it's not a musical group or anything like that. I had no talent, but it's a group where 6 boys took it upon themselves to score points on how much mental, physical and verbal abuse they could inflict on me. So obviously not great fun, but it's what it is. We all go through stuff. And so I was playing football on this gravel tennis court. Smoke starts to descend across it. And one of these boys goes to me, David, can you smell that burning? Smell. And I see the smoke coming from a chimney from a house across the road. And I go, yeah, I think the smoke's coming from over there. He goes, yeah, David, I think you're right. He goes, David, why don't you knock on that door, see if they'll let you in? I was like, what do you mean, why would they let you in? He said, because they're burning all the Jews in there. And that was the sort of stuff I used to hear. And, it's difficult, but we all go through stuff. And I used to go home and feel quite upset about it. But here's the thing, on that particular occasion, I laughed it off. And I guess I laughed it off because the ignorance of it, or I laughed it off because they were scared of something they didn't understand. I didn't really know why I laughed it off. The interesting thing about that was, because I laughed it off, rather than going home and being upset about it, as usually was the routine, I went home and I made a decision that would change the rest of my life. And that decision was, I would care what all of you think, what all of you value, what you all fear, what you worry about. I care about all of that, but I wouldn't care what you thought of me. Now, people might say, that's really depressing, but it's a decision. I've got a close group of people who I do care about what they think about me, but, I'm too busy worrying about the value I can give all of you. I don't want people to experience some of the things that I experience. And I didn't really feel the benefit of that decision until 10 years later, where at the same school that happened, I got to do a speech back at the school. And it's very similar to this. And there was a boy in maybe the 3rd or 4th row, probably about where you are right now. And he heckled me the whole way through. And I thought, I don't really care what he thinks of me. I'm just going to give everyone value. And he just heckled and heckled and heckled. And I just thought, gave him a bit of banter, didn't really care, left it. At the end of the speech, everyone walked out of the room, except for this one boy. And I thought, this is really weird. And at the end of the speech, he walks over to me and he goes, my whole life I've been diagnosed or labelled by counsellors or doctors or therapists with anxiety, depression and various other mental health issues. And he said, you reminded me that I labelled myself. And for that, I just want to say thank you. And he left, and that was it. That could not have happened if I hadn't made the decision 10 years before that I wouldn't care what people thought in that situation, so that allowed me to do public speaking. It's a strength of mine. And that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't laughed off that one comment. So here's what I want to teach you. 60 seconds to interpret a setback. 60 seconds to interpret a setback. Finish the sentence for me. We should never judge a book by its... Bit louder, come on. Yeah, great shout at the back of whoever that was. Yeah, exactly. Now, we shouldn't, but when we meet someone, we form a complete perception of who they are. It might change over time, but that first impression is incredibly important. So if that's the case, when you face something in your life, that first 60 seconds is incredibly important. when you look back at an event in your life, you don't look back at the event itself, you look back at how you saw the event. So if that's the case, the first impression is incredibly important. So rather than saying when you make a mistake and you go, oh, damn it, I really didn't mean to do that, you know, what am I going to do? I've let everyone down, and what, you know, am I going to play next week? And, you know, what's my future hold for me? And there's so much uncertainty, and I don't know. Instead of that, and we do that because we have a 2 million-year-old brain, instead of that, how about we went, oh, I've made a mistake. I know damn it, I've really messed up there, but I'm not going to try too hard, but I'm going to put myself back in the game. I'm going to concentrate. I'm going to do this for the rest of the team. We've still got an opportunity in this game. This is a good learning experience. I'm going to have an experience that other people don't have, and I'm going to grow from this opportunity. Which one's better? Option 1 or option 2? Option 2. But it's so easy to do option 1. That first 60 seconds is incredibly important. And I want to show you one of the best examples of this I've ever seen. Put your hand up if you've heard of Mike Tyson, the boxer Mike Tyson, yeah. Keep your hand up if you've heard of Buster Douglas too, so you'll know this story. Mike Tyson in his prime was one of the most feared boxers that's ever existed, unbeaten world champion. And he had a warm-up fight before he fought Evander Holyfield. So he was going to fight Buster Douglas in this warm-up fight. Buster Douglas had won some fights, lost some fights, been knocked down a couple of times. He was just doing this to get paid. But Buster Douglas' mum said, the hairdressers, you know, my son's going to beat Mike Tyson. He's like, Mum, shut up, like, I don't know if I can do this. 2 days before the fight, his mum passes away. And his team ask him, you know, to make a decision, you know, tell us what to do. Do you want to do this fight or not? And he says, no, I'll do this for my mum. And like every Mike Tyson fight, same as all of them, Mike Tyson knocked him down in the first few rounds. Now, what I want you to watch here is that in that 10 seconds, he hits the floor, he's annoyed, but he talks about what he did in that 10 seconds, and the usual thing would be to say, oh, I don't want to get up from this, because a lot of fighters don't want to get up from Mike Tyson. And the boxers say, you know, I've been hit once, I don't want to be hit again, so they just don't get up. But Buster Douglas said, no, I said I would do this for my mum. And thanks, James, good job. And so it's really important, as I said, to make that decision. And because he made that decision, he did what no man had ever done before. He knocked Mike Tyson down. There was supposed to be sound with this, but I don't know what's happened, but it's fine. Okay, so as you see, he's boxing, bang. And no one had ever done that to Mike Tyson, and Buster Douglas wasn't meant to do that to Mike Tyson. So what happened? They said, Buster Douglas, how did you do this? And he said, I made the decision that 10 seconds that I'd do this to my mum. As I said, 60 seconds to interpret a setback. 60 seconds to interpret a setback. So that's how you deal with setbacks and disappointments. Now I want to change the tone a little bit. So, I want to talk about energy. I want to talk about what we do with our body. Put your hand up again if at the beginning you had your hand up that you said you had ever experienced doubt, stress or fear. Put your hand up again. Put your hand up again. Keep your hand up if you want to be a more confident leader. If you'd be able to be a more confident leader. Okay. Can I ask you again actually, because you were really good, and can I ask you to both stand up, if that's all right? Thank you, give them a round of applause. What's your name, where are you from?
Bradley, and I'm from Coventry.
Coventry, okay, nice. And what do you think is holding you back from being a more confident leader?
Just like the amount of commitment you have to do and piling it on top of you and all of that.
Yeah. How committed do you think you are?
Quite committed.
Out of 10?
9?
Solid number, okay. So what do you think would get you to a 10?
I don't know, just the confidence that I can just do it, you know.
What would make you more confident to do it?
Being more organised and just knowing what I can do and when I can do it.
Perfect. Now, the reason why I kept asking those questions was because that's the first thing is clarity. The clearer you are, the closer it comes to you. And I knew you had the answer, but we just had to get you there to get the answer. What do you think would make you a more confident leader?
I don't know.
That's a very good answer, very honest answer. Now, I want to do a little bit of a social experiment with the both of you, if that's okay. And there is a reason I picked you today, and I think there's a bigger reason why you've been picked today as well. Would you mind both coming to the front? Give them a round of applause. Awesome. If I get one of you to stand here, and I get one of you to stand here. Now, I'm going to get them to think of 2 moments in their life. 2 moments in their life, and then I'm going to ask you to say what those moments are. So they're going to show through their body, through their physiology, what those moments are. A bit like charades, and they're not going to say anything. Okay? So talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to be 2 seconds. Talk amongst yourselves. Okay, 2 of you, come in. Come in. So, I picked you for a reason, and I think you'll be really good at this, but you have to go for it. The first one is I want you to think of a moment in your life where you felt really sad, really down, really lacked confidence, and I want you to show through your body what that looks like. Where was your head? Where were your shoulders? Where was your chest? You know, all of those things. The second one is I want you to think of the most happy, excited, confident moment in your life. Now, the first thing you both would have done is you stand up straighter than you would do now. Now, I know I picked on you, and it's a nerve-wracking thing, but as soon as we stand up, we feel more confident. So we do the first one, and the second one, I really, really want you to go for it. If you ran around, run around. If you jumped in the air, jump in the air. But just do as much energy as possible. I guarantee the bigger you go, the greater effect it has on these people. Do you feel both you can do this?
I don't know, mine was quite a chill experience, to be honest. I kind of sat down like when...
Have you ever been to a music concert?
Yeah.
How did you celebrate then?
I don't really know. I usually just sort of stand in the back.
Okay, this is why I picked you both. I want you to go bigger than either of those moments that you can think of. Have you ever jumped in your life?
Yes.
Have you ever moved in your life? Have you ever shouted in your life? As loud, as big as possible. The second one. The first one, you can do pretty much what you're doing right now.
Okay.
But I want you to go bigger than you've ever been before, and there's a reason I want you to do this. Can we both do it? Yeah? Both do it. A bit more commitment. Yes. Say yes. Say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Come on, you can do this. You can do it. Cool. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so, as I said, I'm going to make these two think of 2 moments in their life, and they're going to perform for you all, so you're very lucky. They're going to do a performance for you, essentially. They're going to do one, then they're going to do the second one, and then I'm going to ask you what the difference between the two different moments was, okay? Now, we're going to do the first one. You both remember what the first one is? Yeah? Yeah? Okay, so after 3, do what you did in that moment. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, stop. The Oscars are coming up at the end of the year. I won't get your hopes up though. I felt like this performance was more subtle and quite moving for a lot of people in this room, whereas you went for the theatrical approach, but it also worked. So both of them worked great. We're going to do the second one now. Now, for the second one, this is quite challenging for anyone to do this, but there have been people I've done this with who do this really, really well. And if they do it well, then it does it really well. Okay? So I want you to all make some noise for them, give them some encouragement first.
Yeah! All right!
You can do this. You can do this. Good. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, go! Woo! Yes! Okay, give them a round of applause, give them a round of applause.